Okay, we're coming on.
Greetings and welcome to the Community Defender Talk Show. I'm your host, Brother Daryl Muhammad.
And I'm Deshaun X. Welcome to the Community Defender, an hour of powerful truth, dispelling falsehood. Back to you, Brother Darrell.
Now, today, of course, we're going to be dealing with the subject or under the subject of blind leadership. And you remember what Jesus said in the Bible that if the blind lead the blind, both of them will fall in a ditch. When you consider the history of most of our leadership, not all of it, we know that Marcus Garvey was a strong leader. We know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is a strong leader. We know that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, strong leader. But most of the people that we followed have been very weak, and they have actually been followers in many cases of our enemies. And so when you consider the fact that there were, at the time of the 1994 crime bill, which people are still being imprisoned by today, and people are still in jail to this day because of, when you consider the 1994 crime bill and the 38 people that were in Congress at the time, 38 people, basically 26 of them voted for the crime bill. That's over 2/3. So over 2/3 of our congressional leadership voted for mass incarceration and voted with the enemy. And so what we need is leadership that can see. And I would have to say that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is leadership that has its eyes wide open and sees with divine clarity. And so I wanted to make that point as we go into this video. Now, recently, and it's been rare over the past few years, that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan would actually make a statement in the public. But he made a statement at the National Training Conference and said that he did not care or was not concerned that this particular clip or this message go out, and it was even put on the Nation of Islam website, noi.org/webcast. So y'all can go and check out the full message. But here's the thing, he gave a warning to the warmongers and bullies. He gave a warning to President Trump and the country at large and the world at large in this clip. So if we can, Brother Director, let's run that clip of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
To solve a problem. Yes, you got an armada. Yes. Who are aggressors, oppressors, tyrants, bullies, who love to make people afraid. Don't be a bully. Find a better way to solve a problem. Yes, you got an armada. Yes, you got ships. Yes, you got armies. Yes, you got ballistic missiles. Yes, but you don't have God. And if you don't have God, you don't have the forces of nature. And God is unleashing the forces of nature now. Don't try him. Don't try him, please. If you want to live, put the gun down. Put the bomb down. You can threaten Iran. Iran have a little something to fight back. But my teacher told me that this war was going to start with conventional weapons, and it will end with nuclear weapons. You heard it first. from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I say this as warning before the war gets hot. Stop and think. Precious lives are on those ships. But God can maneuver the water in such a way which you will see and sink your ship. See, nothing can stand against the force of nature when it is unleashed. Please, I am from God.
Yes, sir.
Whether you know it or not, damn it, if you haven't seen it yet, you blind as hell. But I'm telling you, I am from God. And what I say, you're going to meet it again if you think you're going to destroy people with your bombs. God is.
Well, there we have it, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan, advising restraint, advising people to stop and take stock of what they're doing, advising America not to be a bully. And when you look at it, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's words very apropos. When you look at the egomaniacs that are at the helm of this country and its military, somebody has to come in here with some divine sanity. And I'm grateful to Allah that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan did weigh in on it. Brother Deshaun?
Yes, sir. I'm with you on that, brother. Before we got on here, I saw a quote from the minister that he said on Twitter. He said, "When I speak, listen, because you will then be in the valley of decision. You've got to make a decision to save your life." And that everything this man has said has come to pass. Even when we believe God has delayed what he said, it still came to pass. He said that Trump was going to be the last president, and we thought the man was going crazy, losing his memory, and but everything he said has come to pass, and that further proves that he is from God, because when he says something, it might take a year, it might take 6 months, but it will come. So like he said, we will be placed in the valley of decision, and I bear witness that everything he said, once you hear it, you are then held to the duty to choose, because that time will come where what he said will come to pass.
Absolutely. And many of our people some years ago, I know in 2020, July 4th, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan advised the world not to take the vaccines. And he talked about treachery. And one of the people that he really called out at the Criterion lecture in the garden on the property in Michigan, very elaborate celebration, a wonderful address that he gave called the Criterion. And that address, my God, it was all the way off the chain. It was filled with information, but he said, do not take their vaccines. He warned us in America, and he also warned the African governments not to take their medications. And he talked about genocide and them wanting to kill us, with these vaccines. And now we see, looking at the diaries of Fauci, now we see that it has really come full circle. And we're about to show this clip, or these clips right quick. But I wanted to get your take on it as you saw a lot of this stuff. And I want to thank you again for sending me the clip that we just saw.
Yes, sir. Just speaking on the vaccine, the climate surrounding me getting the vaccine was a very different one. I was going to college. I lived with my grandparents, and I was very close to my great grandfather. So the vaccine was definitely pushed onto me, but even before I came into the understanding of the divine intervention of God through the minister, I felt as if the vaccine wasn't in the best interest of my people and me. But same thing with the criterion. When the minister spoke that day, everything he said, it stuck with me. And the title of it is the criterion, meaning that it will divide the people back to the valley of decision. Because he said it, do not take it. But if you take it, you cannot blame the man for what happens because he warned against it.
That is correct, man. And a lot of people were ridiculed, talked about, called irresponsible, and everything else. And there were people who even said the same thing about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Now we see that they lied about everything. It was a setup, and it was filled. All of their advice turned out not to be true. When they said if you take the vaccine, you won't have to worry about getting COVID, that turned out to be a lie. If you take the vaccine, you won't have severe symptoms. Well, we know people died of COVID even after they took it. So it's just one of those things. And then when you see this man who needs a pardon and then takes the Fifth Amendment, that's really mind-blowing how that thing went down, how it happened. And it just underscores that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and his guidance, and there were a few other people like Rizza Islam, who was a follower of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. These were people, Brother Ben X, who were social media influencers, members of the nation, who were touching a lot of people. And they came under significant attack. So, freedom of speech was all the way out of the window when it came to the satanic plans of the satanic people in government. And a lot of our leadership was blind and just got on the radio, got on television, and said whatever Massa told them to say. And history will record that you made a grave error and that you betrayed your people for whatever crumbs fell from Master's table. Let's go ahead and run that clip that we talked about, Brother Director, if we can.
Yes, the Fauci.
Say again.
You want the Fauci one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
There's a 40-minute and a 123.
The answer is, if there are oversight hearings, I absolutely will cooperate fully and testify before the Congress if asked. You may not know, but I've testified before the Congress a few hundred times, okay, over the last 40 years or so. So I have no trouble testifying. We can defend and explain and stand by everything that we've said. So I have nothing to add. Under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
Wow. Well, there's another clip, brother, that's a minute and 23 seconds long. If you can run that one right quick. And I do apologize to the viewing audience for the formatting issues that we have. But again, we're trying to get you the information. We're trying to show you what it is. The guy who was telling everybody, who was running his mouth for months about the vaccine and science and all of that, had nothing to say when the cameras were on him and he had to be called to account for the lies that he told. He had nothing to say. Okay. And we got to deal with, we wanted to bring that up to you because many of you questioned us on the Community Defender. And let me just say this while brother cues up that video. We were on when the Gulf War started. And we told you on the Community Defender that they were not going to find any weapons of mass destruction. Now, we don't have a multi-million-dollar budget. We have what we call a shoestring budget. We don't have the multi-million-dollar budget that ABC and CBS had. Yet we were accurate and they were not. Isn't that something? A little show that goes to 5 parishes in Louisiana was more accurate than a multi-billion-dollar media industry. And we were actually accurate in that. We told you what was going to happen with Libya when Barack Obama ill-advisedly went in and destroyed a nation that was helping Africa at the behest of white folk. We told you that that wasn't going to turn out well, and look what happened. So here we are, a little talk show in South Louisiana, going to 5 parishes, and we are more accurate by the grace of Allah than CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, all of them. And here we are on a shoestring budget. Now, how is that? Unless these people were and have been lying the whole doggone time to you. When we tell you 1 powerful hour of truth, that's what we mean. That's what you've been getting here at the Community Defender for 27 years. You've been getting the truth rather than Satan's lies. Brother Deshaun?
Yes, sir, brother. You on? That's I don't have anything on that point, brother.
Brother. So now
I've got the studies right here.
Here we go.
There was a website that was tracking the random controlled studies. Here they are, showing 60, 70% efficacy of ivermectin. The same day you say there's no evidence, there was all kinds of evidence. Loved ones had to go to hospitals, had to sue hospitals. Just, would you try it? So I would want to know, to what extent were you involved in sabotaging hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and did you do that because you knew the only way you get an emergency use authorization for these drugs, these experimental gene therapy, was if there was no effective treatment, you couldn't get the emergency use authorization. So is that why you helped sabotage these cheap generic drugs in favor of remdesivir, which, by the way, nurses, are you aware of the fact that nurses called it run, death is near?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
All right. There we have it. And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. Think about the man that everybody told us to listen to, who all of a sudden is quiet now. He wanted to talk about science in 2021, 2022. He wanted to talk about the safety and the efficacy of the vaccine, but all of a sudden, he's quiet now, hiding behind the Fifth Amendment. And understand, Black people, some of you are too partisan. You're on the doggone Democrat Party plantation rather than on the truth station. You're on the Democratic Party plantation rather than on the truth station. And because of that, some of you are online defending Fauci, defending a liar who needed a pardon before Biden got out of office, because both of them have been criminals in that they have lied to you while they knew the truth. And it goes to what I'm saying, and that is that we have consistently on this program, by Allah's grace and permission, and we have told you the truth. We have made no secret that much of our inspiration comes from the example of Minister Farrakhan. We haven't played any games with that. We've stood on that. Many of us had to turn in 8 pages. Like in order for me to, at the job I held, to keep working, I had to submit 8 pages with a whole bunch of questions on it so that I could keep it working and not take the shot. So when people say, well, this is a 6-figure opportunity, why would you? You're not going to make six figures if you're dead. Not going to make any figures, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
I understood that. And, just when coworkers would say things, bruh, I'm not doing it. It's not going down. So I stood my ground. And the thing I will say is that those of us who didn't take it, none of us regret it. But a lot of people who did, you regretted it. And many people say that they that they're guided by the Holy Spirit. And a lot of these jackleg preachers got on, the Lord told me the shot is safe. Now the Lord ain't told you nothing. That grant money from them white folks told you that it was safe. That's what
Yes, sir.
happened.
Go ahead, bro.
It wasn't it wasn't the Holy Spirit, it was the unholy grant money. And we got the receipts on some of y'all. So please don't go there. Just let it. If it's not talking about you, then let it go. Okay. But understand, some of y'all sold out, and some of you funeralized people after they took the shot because they just found people dead. You got 19-year-old LSU students found dead. Sudden death, 19. After what? A shot. So we just wanted to lay that out there. That's our opinion. We believe we have evidence of it. It's coming out in the Senate. And look, the only thing good going on in the Trump administration is the stuff going on in the Department of Health and Human Services. Everything else is crazy. The only secretary that really has sense is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And he's been on this road of fighting the toxicity that's being given to our children over and over. And that's why you have a vaccine injury compensation program at the federal government. If people were not injured, and I want you to, for the people in the back, there would not be a vaccine injury compensation program that has paid out billions of dollars if there was no such thing as a vaccine injury, which means it's not safe. If they've paid out billions of dollars to families, billions that they've paid to families for vaccine injuries, that means you can be injured. For the people in the back, all right? Don't tell me about science. The science says that stuff can hurt you. Okay, that's what the science says. That's what reality says. And I'm going to say this before we roll the clip, and that is, you have to be able to tell the difference between science and a lie told using scientific language. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. You have to be able to tell the difference between science and a lie told using scientific language. All right. Now, because keep in mind, I pray. I don't want to lead anybody wrong. You understand me? And if I believe for 1 minute that what I was telling my people and advising my people on the Community Defender not to do, that it would look, I love black people. That's the reason I advise people not to take the shot, because I love them. And what I advise is what I follow. I don't advise people to drink alcohol. I think it's a waste of money. I don't think, we have time to be drunk. I don't judge you, but that's just my belief. I don't think we have time to be getting high off alcohol. I think we need to be spending money on education and books. But I follow that. I don't drink alcohol. And I advise other people not to drink alcohol. I advise my people, don't eat chitlins, don't eat pork, because it causes high blood pressure. Do I judge you? No, but I advise you of that because it's something I also follow. So I practice what I preach by God's grace. I do my best to do so. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying I'm actually striving to be a better and better man in every area of life. As a husband, a father, I'm trying to be better. each and every day by Allah's grace and permission. That's what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan teaches us. And in the Nation of Islam, we are taught to be better and better and better every day. And that is why I come to you on this program. That's why I covet the ability to be able to speak to you, because I know that there are precious minds, precious hearts out there that need this information, and I love you. And you and let me just, you're not going to really turn on the television and see too often black men on TV saying that they love black people. Nobody is getting on television saying they love you at all. They're saying
right.
you need to be locked up. They're saying all kind of things, but they're not saying I love you. All right. That's something you don't really see or hear very often. Brother Deshaun.
Brother, I wanted to say that Dr. Fauci said that he would be willing to defend what he was promoting, but you can't defend falsehood unless it be with more falsehood. Because I can't tell you a lie and then back up my lie with truth.
Come on now.
And another thing that stuck out to me, I was reminded of scripture in the Holy Quran in chapter 14, where Satan is talking to his followers. And he told his followers that I did not have any authority over you. I only called you and you responded to me. So don't blame me. Blame yourselves. I cannot save you, nor can you save me. Indeed, I denounce your previous association of me with Allah in loyalty. And the reason I was reminded of that is because he never had authority over us. They said, oh, you're going to lose your job if you don't take the vaccine. Or you can't join this organization if you don't take the vaccine. Or you can't come to this college campus if you don't take the vaccine. But once the believers turned in their papers and said they were followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through the divine leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, no one had anything to say after that. They let you keep your job. They let you be coming to these schools, allow you to still take classes. So they showed that way they had no authority over you. And we cannot blame Fauci because he is a deceiver. He's doing what God allowed him to do. And the minister served as the criterion to divide us. Will you believe Fauci or will you believe what God has said? And it also said that Satan will denounce our association of him with Allah. And many pastors just in the city were opening up their churches and holding sermons, telling their congregation to get the vaccine. And they were saying that the Holy Spirit told me to do this. But why would the Holy Spirit promote our people to put ourselves in harm's way? So we cannot associate what we believe to be the Holy Spirit with the actual Holy Spirit. And it says, lastly, surely the wrongdoers will suffer a painful punishment. And people all around the United States, all over the world, are seeing that when you go against the divine intervention and the divine guidance of God, that you will go through chastisement, rather that be a heart attack, or whether that be you have to get limbs cut off, or you have to get your toes cut off. But once we go against what God has told us, it is nothing but chastisement after that. And even Satan knows this. Satan knows he has no ownership. He knows that our owner is Allah. So Satan even himself believes that Allah is the owner of the last day. So Fauci is just doing and walking through scripture as Satan, the great deceiver, using scientific language to back up falsehood, deceiving our people because we don't read, we don't investigate. Oh, a white man is on there telling me to get the vaccine. The place down the street is telling me if I get the vaccine, I get a gas card for $300. I get to go to this place if I take this vaccine. But when have white people ever gave us anything of value for free? And then not
Brother Dara,
I'm
sorry to interrupt you. I have Brother Adrian on the line.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead.
Go ahead, Brother Adrian.
Permission, let's go ahead and bring him in.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, man. I'm told that you have a testimony, man, about all you went through when this thing came down with this shot, brother.
Yeah, they had people that loved me, that's close to me, that wanted me to take it so bad that some people ended up in tears because they believed the smear campaign to the point where, you know, when you had nationally syndicated radio talk shows, not doing commercials or spotlight, but they were cut into nationally syndicated programs to say, hey, you could go to this area and get a shot and you could get them for free. And I think a lot of our people were sold on the fact that it didn't cost nothing. Well, the vaccine information that said that some of the side effects were that you could have swelling of the face and throat, you could have a faster heart rate, and potential other complications that was that were life-threatening. That's why I didn't want to take it. After reading all that information, and speaking of the vaccines, I'd like to send a big shout out to Brother Rizza Islam, who was one of the disinformed dozen who really did a wonderful information outlining it from a historical as well as a practical standpoint. But those are some of the things I went through that people that I love, church members, that some people that I love considered almost disassociate with me because they looked at if you didn't take the vaccine, you were being selfish or you wasn't in consideration of how other people felt. So yes, we went through some of those things, even though that the information said that potential side effects could be that they were life-threatening. And I know people that faces are disfigured. I know people who used to walk miles and now are in wheelchairs. I know people personally that since these vaccines, and that's why I did a commentary called No Vaccine, and I wanted to do a series about it. And I looked at if Black people didn't like Trump, then why were we so open to Dr. Fauci, who was appointed by Trump? So those are the practical things that I went through. But yes, people didn't look at practicality. People were just being illogical to the point where there were people who disassociated and families who disassociated from their family members and people that they love because they believed the smear campaign between vaccinated and unvaccinated.
That is correct. Man, I thank you for definitely sharing that with us, man. And a lot of us I had to deal with some of those similar things in my family where, you know, again, I'm disinvited to family functions because I made a certain decision. And and it's interesting that, you know, we know better now, but it's interesting that the media and white folks can divide Black folks based upon the fact that we chose not to believe white folks and they did. So they do are very often divide us. And I know, you know, even in my own wonderful family, which I'm very proud and love my family, but even I was disinvited to some things because of the smear campaign that was being given against with people who did not, you know, vaccinate or get the shot because it was not a vaccination. So, and go ahead, sir.
And look at the other part of it. I looked at it like this. As a woman, you got a right to get an abortion, means legalized murder in my belief. You have a right to say what you want. You have a right, a woman has a right to do whatever she wants to do with her body. You have all these rights to gamble. You have a right to even drop out of school if you don't want to go to school. But when it came down to the vaccine, there were people who figured, no, you don't have no right. You have to take it. And people were ostracized on their jobs. And then if you look at it now, from that standpoint that you say how people know better now, some people had to find out the hard way. There are people who got vaccinated and had COVID twice since then. So I asked them, I said, well, wait a minute. If you still got COVID, what was the purpose to get vaccinated? And people's logic was, well, it doesn't matter. It didn't say that it was a guarantee that you couldn't get it. It was saying that if you got it, it wouldn't be as bad.
There are people who've gotten vaccinated and the vaccines were worse than them having COVID.
That's real talk, and people were lied to about it. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Criterion said there were 14 effective therapies. Now, the thing I'm going to say in this, because if you get the book, The Real Fauci, it breaks down how emergency use authorization only works if there is no other effective treatment. And in order to get this 40 or 50 billion dollars that Pfizer Moderna got, it would not have been legal to release it under emergency use authorization if there was an effective treatment. So they had to make ivermectin look crazy. And they had to say it was a horse medicine, when in fact it's at Walgreens, CVS, in human doses. So the idea that, and ivermectin is only available for horses at animal stores and at certain veterinarians, right? So it's a situation to where, why is it at Walgreens? Because I haven't seen a horse in Walgreens yet. So why is it that you can get at CVS and Walgreens if it's a horse medication? But a lot of times people don't think. They do not think. They just pretty much follow. And I wanted to bring that out to my people. Fauci is taking the fifth. He got a pardon. He's afraid to speak. He won't speak. It's one of those things to where, hey, if they were big and bad and had all that science, they wouldn't need to plead the fifth. What he had was liance, meaning he lied. See, it wasn't science, it was liance. And that's why he has to shut up at the Senate and can't talk, because he lied. Not science, liance. And the proof is right there in what we were looking at. You said something?
All right, we have no.
And also you got to look at another thing of the point, speaking of Fauci lying. Let's also look at COVID-19. Why did people like Bill Gates get involved? Bill Gates and Bill and Melinda Gates, who owns all the charities that they fund so they can avoid paying a lot of taxes. So you also got to look at, why did Bill Gates, who is not known for medicine, why did he patent and get involved? And he's not even able to get the viruses off the computer. So if he's not able to get the viruses off the computer, how is it that Bill Gates was funding all these vaccines in sub-Saharan Africa and all these other places?
Right. Well, the reduction of the population of the earth is what they want to do. And, these vaccines, you have to look at them. Anything that goes against it, vaccines have, you can say that God does not exist. You can get on YouTube and say that God is unsafe. But a lot of times when you got on YouTube and said the vaccine is unsafe, they'll pull you, give you strikes, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people lost their channels, lost their livelihoods, because they said something that was not in line with the industry. And let me say this about vaccines before we run this last clip. Gotta say it. When people are talking about protecting children from measles, which, I mean, really, anybody that dies of measles was sick with something else. But here's the thing, we got all these measles cases. All of that stuff is smoke and mirror. Okay, I had measles and I had mumps. Okay, look at me. I'm still here. No problem. We move on. But they're not trying to save children. when they speak about measles and all this other stuff, and the no vaccines or the cause and all, they're lying. What they're trying to protect is $80 billion in profits, automatic profit, because everybody just walks in line, brings their children to the doctor to get stuck with poison, and it's like an assembly line of people. So millions of children born, and everybody at right on cue is just getting themselves vaccinated, and it's automatic money. So they're trying to protect $81 billion of profit, not children.
Well, Darren, we got a phone call, another phone call. Go ahead, call.
Go ahead, Carl.
Brother Jay, I want to thank you for your show Wednesday. As you noticed, that the truth that you told Wednesday on your show, Mr. Todd Dalbo is dead right now. But look, I want to elaborate. I want to elaborate on the topic of Mr. Malaj, blind leadership.
Yes, sir.
But the Honorable Malcolm X in 1964 made America warn them about the racial injustice that would create an internal pressure cooker, more dangerous than their literal arms. Look at the white folks today fighting each other for the power that God didn't grant them. You mentioned that the killer Dr. Fauci, who pleaded the fifth 111 times with a preemptive pardon from this war criminal, Joe Biden. But you hear the politicians saying they're trying to get all the criminals off the street while they're in the damn government. You mentioned about Donald Trump's accomplishment, but he's not the problem. It's the system that allowed this 34 convicted felon to run. So don't say life is hard. It's the people you vote for who makes it hard. And black people, learn about yourself. We are the gods that this Bible speaks about. And if you don't believe, then you go to church or join a club to make you believe. We got to stop this, black folks. We are leaders. And this is why they don't want us to learn about ourselves, because they know if we would know what we come from and who we are, we would run the world again. We started the world. We just was too civilized amongst uncivilized people. So guys, like I say, wake up, learn about yourself. You don't have to join no group and none of this old churches and all this. Believe in yourself and God will work through you. Thank y'all, and y'all have a nice weekend.
All right.
Thank you, sir. We
Yes,
definitely appreciate your input. Now, I wanted to not to stop him, but I wanted to say, hey, he said they're trying to get all the criminals off the street, but they're in the government. That was classic right there. That was absolutely classic right there. I definitely thank God for that. I'm gonna accept that word right there. I think that was a good one. But you know that these people are not trying to protect children. They're trying to protect profits. Understand that. And if people lose faith in vaccines and begin to question the rise of autism and connect it with the rise of vaccines like we should, then those billions of dollars in automatic money, they won't get anymore. And that's why they call their friends at CNN, they call their friends at Fox, and they say, hey, talk about measles. Talk about the one child that died of measles. But you don't want to talk about all the children, the thousands of children that die from secondhand cigarette smoke. And you don't want to pull tobacco off the market, where tobacco kills 490,000 Americans every year. You don't want to talk about the 490,000 people that die of tobacco in America every year. 41,000 people die from secondhand smoke who don't even smoke. But you want to talk about that one child that died of measles in order to get everybody scared. Well, if you're not trying to get them scared of tobacco, you're not trying to get them scared of fentanyl, you're not trying to get them scared of cocaine, you're not trying to get them scared of opioids, then don't come on the air and say, this shouldn't happen. That child died of measles. Hold on a second. 3 of them died in Illinois from drive-by shooting. You don't want to talk about them? More of our children are hit with bullets and killed. More of a 1-year-old baby in Mississippi in Senatobia, Mississippi, was shot by some crazy officer. If you want to talk about our babies, talk about some real stuff rather than trying to get everybody all worked up and lined up to get a shot in their arm so y'all can get billions of dollars in profits. We ain't going for that crap. We ain't going for that crap. It's not going down. Do we have that other video, brother director? And are you enjoying yourself, brother Deshaun?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, good
Yes,
deal.
sir, bro. There's not many places you can get a conversation like this on a Sunday evening.
That is correct. Do we have it, brother director?
Yes, brother. Go to the video, right?
Okay, you got one more phone call?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Yes. Good evening, Brother Darrell, and good evening to your guests and all those that's listening right now. Hey, you're having a very good, interesting show. You know, I was the one that didn't take the vaccine. You know, I know other people took the vaccine, had strokes, had heart attacks, had illusions of things that was going on in their head, didn't. But my reason for not taking it, I remember when Richard Nixon sold all the gas to Iran, you know, and they had to come up with a alternative gas. And with that alternative gas, it wasn't really gas. It was something to get your car running to move. But once you stopped it, you could go in the house and come back out and your car is still running, you know. So this was one of the reasons why I didn't want to take it, because I felt they came out too quick with it to say that it was going to work. But Brother Darrell, hey, look, you have a very good show. I'm Wallace Senegal with the Community Matter Show, and you guys keep up all that good work that y'all doing to bring the people to realization of what's really going on. I used to tell you all the time, keep throwing bricks in the graveyard. So, all right, Brother Darrell, we're going to holler back at you later.
And thank you so much, sir. We definitely appreciate you calling. And we definitely wish your show success, because I've watched your show and it is an outstanding program. Just a down-to-earth discussion between black men with life experience, and that is very refreshing. And that's why you all are having the success that you're having with the viewership at that show. And we definitely appreciate the show that you have. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can hit this video, and then we'll get deeper into the discussion. And we haven't heard from our producer tonight. Hope she's all right.
So steps in a true vaccine. Now, God is going to turn your vaccine into death in a hurry. Mark my words, by the help of God. Since you love to take the vaccine, then eat death. You think you're running from death and that I'm inviting you to death. The man of God is not inviting you to death. I'm inviting you to life.
And do you have any science to back up your opinion?
The best data are autopsies. So in the largest autopsy series published to date, I know because I'm the senior author, of all the deaths we examined, and we re-reviewed them. We had an adjudication committee. We had ways of arbitration deciding on, did the vaccine cause death? The answer is, of these cases that came in for autopsy after vaccination, 73.9% of individuals, it was determined that the vaccine was the cause of death. First author is Hosher and colleagues, who's sitting right behind me.
Wow. Well, there you have it. You have the Honorable Louis Farrakhan laying some things out, trying to get our people to move in the right direction. And then you have the fulfillment of his words being talked about in the Senate by Dr. McCullough. So it lets you know that we really need to not follow the blind leadership that we've been following. And I mean everybody. Magic Johnson said to take it. Barack Obama said to take it. Roland Martin said to take it. The mayor in my city said to take it. The mayor in New Orleans said to take it. Satan had controlled almost everybody and got them to promote it, even not just to take it, but to promote it. And the first two people that took it, or the first person that took it on camera, was a black nurse. If you remember, a very attractive, as people say in the street, a beautiful chocolate sister. And then you had an almond-colored sister who was the doctor giving the injection, so that everybody seeing it, it was you had two pretty sisters. They didn't get anybody else. They got gorgeous people to promote it. So when you want to promote something, you get what? Good-looking people to promote it. And both of those women could have been models, both of them, the one getting the shot and the one giving it. You understand? And that way, and they later admitted that it was to combat the vaccine hesitancy, as they call it, in the black community. But in Fauci's notes, he mentioned Beyond Tuskegee, which was a lecture given by Dr. Wesley Muhammad, one of our scholars in the nation, about the vaccine and why we shouldn't take it. And we in the Nation of Islam were living rent-free in their minds, because Fauci talked about it in the notes and talked about he was being accused of something by the black Muslims, right? So that hit hard because they did not have truth on their side. And that's why you never really had a side-by-side debate of a pro-vaxxer versus an anti-vaxxer in a structured debate that we could all look at. It was all one-sided. That's all it was. And everybody was saying, you know, those of you who haven't taken the vaccine, one brother got on television and said we were all stuck on stupid. And the NAACP did not fight for your civil rights not to be stuck with a needle. They didn't fight for your rights. The National Urban League, where were you saying, look, black people have the right to choose? You want a woman to be able to choose to kill her baby, but you don't want me to be able to choose on how I'm gonna live. So, look, everybody's hypocrisy was exposed in this COVID thing. And y'all were exposed for the sellouts that many of you are. Brother Deshaun?
Yes, sir. I was reminded of Brother Kyrie Irving and what they did to that brother, him losing millions of dollars, being smeared on all of these sport broadcast channels by black people, of course. Being talked about by the leadership of the teams he played for at that time. And now everybody is coming out apologizing. And I seen I believe a white female politician, she said she was going to tell Trump that he should give Kyrie Irving a Nobel Peace Prize. I said, wow. But while we were being pumped with this falsehood, everybody was calling Kyrie crazy, selfish, and all of these things. But when the truth came out, everybody is now praising him. And also, I find it crazy that, women can choose to kill innocent lives that are in their wombs, and men can stop their reproductive organs from doing what they're supposed to do. But when it came to the vaccine, I didn't have a choice. I had to take it. I didn't have a right and all of these things. But children in California can say, well, Dad, I'm 12 years old. I think I want to be a girl. And if the dad doesn't listen to his child, he is now put behind bars. But when it came to the vaccine, I had no choice. I have no voice. I have to do it, or I'm inconsiderate and I can't
One
Black
minute. 1
stood up
minute.
for us. Yes, sir. Black leadership that stood up for us couldn't even stand for us too long because millions were being taken away from them. So COVID showed that black leadership, it don't matter if you have $5 in your pocket or $50 million. If you're speaking against the vaccine, you will be censored.
Absolutely. And of course, that's why we love the independent leadership of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, a man who does not depend on Caucasian cash to do what he does. Of course, we know that being independent makes you stronger and more truthful. And of course, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has that divine backbone. And that's why he said what he said, and his followers were ridiculed as a result. We all were talked about like a dog, ostracized. But now everybody knows that we were on to something. Everybody knows that we were, in fact, divinely guided, and we just have to be grateful to the God for having done so. Just remember that we love you here at the Community Defender. We look forward to seeing you for our next episode, and may God continue to bless all of you and your families. Assalamu alaikum, and we'll talk to you soon.